This is an overview of our fun, beautiful 4.2-mile snowshoe hike around Mirror Lake on Mount Hood, Oregon, on a Saturday morning in January. The trailhead is about 55 miles southeast of downtown Portland. Check conditions in government camp before you head out. As you'll see, even when there's no snow in town, there may be plenty on Mount Hood. When we went, the snowpack levels across Mount Hood were 187% of normal, and snow was forecasted for the morning of our hike. You'll need a parking pass, but what kind depends on when you're going. From May 1st through October 31st, a Northwest Forest Pass or $5 day use fee is required. From November 1 through April 30, an Oregon Snow Park permit is required. You can get a 1-day, a 3-day, or an annual pass at local merchants, including the Fred Meyer in the town of Sandy, Next Adventure, also in Sandy, and at Ski Bowl, which shares the parking lot with the Mirror Lake trailhead. Next Adventure was packed with people picking up rentals when we arrived just after 8 a.m., and they were out of parking passes. Luckily, the office at Ski Bowl had passes, and there was plenty of parking at the trailhead. We arrived at Ski Bowl just after 9 a.m., but by the time we left, parking was scarce. There are pit toilets at the trailhead, and as with any hike, take a photo of the trail map at the kiosk so you have it handy during your hike. We walked pretty slowly, and we stopped to take photos and put on and take off our snowshoes, so take that into consideration when you see our timestamps along the way. The snow level at the beginning of the trail was low enough that we didn't put on our snowshoes until we got to the lake. More on that later. We crossed 10 sturdy bridges on our ascent to the Tom, Dick, and Harry cutoff at the Mirror Lake Loop. The scenery, especially with the snow, was absolutely beautiful. Be sure to stop and take it all in. It took us an hour to hike up to the Tom, Dick, and Harry cutoff. If you want to do a clockwise loop, head to the left. We wanted to hike around the lake counterclockwise, so at this junction, we went straight. Get ready, it's shortly after this signpost that you'll see the lake open up to the left. This next junction is where the Tom, Dick, and Harry trail cuts up to the right. To do the Mirror Lake loop, go down to the left. When we got down to the lake, it was difficult to tell what was going on under the snow. Were we on a trail, on the lake itself? The only person ahead of us that morning wasn't wearing snowshoes, and we could see where her feet sunk about 18 inches into the snow. She turned around at this point and hiked back to the trailhead. After a skier and his dog passed us, we decided to put on our snowshoes for this portion and take our chances. There were points where we could see water flowing around us, but we were able to navigate across this section pretty easily. I was sad that I forgot to bring birdseed with me. The birds around the lake will eat it out of your hands, and this cute, fluffy Canada jay flew right up to us, probably expecting a snack. Sorry, buddy. Next time. We kept our snowshoes on as we crossed a couple small plank bridges, but once we were on the trail on the southwest side of the lake, the snow level was manageable enough to remove our snowshoes for the remainder of the hike. Obviously, your view will be dependent on the weather. It was foggy with snow flurries when we went, so we didn't get that spectacular view of Mount Hood, but all the snow and fog made for a gorgeous winter wonderland. With our snowshoe removal and photo taking, it took about 45 minutes to complete the loop around the lake and wind up back at the junction sign. Then we started the 45-minute descent back to the trailhead parking lot. By this time, there were quite a few hikers on their way up, and parts of the trail were becoming muddy. By the way, here's a shameless product plug. Jake is very proud of his 30-year-old Sorel boots, which are still in fantastic condition after all this time. They're his favorites. By the time we arrived back at the trailhead at 11:45 a.m., there were no available parking spaces. One lucky hiker was very happy to see us leaving. All in all, our hike took us 2 hours and 45 minutes. We were quite hungry, and it was almost noon, so we had to stop at our favorite pub just up the road, Rathskeller in Government Camp. Their outstanding White Russians deserve the accolades, and the food is quite good too. Cheers! And my inner bird nerd is always happy to hear the ravens as they scavenge for food. Well, what a fantastic day we had on the mountain. We hope this information helps you have a great time too.